Um, Luciano is going to cover ultimate upgrades with us today. He did not send me an intro because he feels like you all know him so well. Luciano sells a lot of Cutco. He's part of our team. It's pretty hot. And he's here to bring you the goods today on ultimate upgrades. Great intro if I write it myself. Thank you.
Yeah, that was that was amazing. Good job on that. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really happy with having to follow Brandon. So that's always a tough thing to do. But yeah, it's funny every time I listen to one of his talks, I always feel like a wise Jedi after it. He's all has all these like sneaky mind games and always like it's all about concept, and that's very much how I run my business too. So I always love hearing his messages. So yeah, honored to be able to give you guys a message again. Hopefully, give you some goods for not only the fair season, but hopefully this helps your business just going forward. And I'll preface this if I cut out my Wi-Fi is a little spotty sometimes, but shoot me a text or do something if I'm just like frozen on the screen. But yeah, so ultimate upgrades. Obviously, everyone on here knows how to sell upgrades. We have an amazing group of people on this call who have all sold a lot of Cutco for a very long time. Some of us, I believe we have the most talented team in the region. And it's great because there's so much room for growth. And I firmly believe that soon these fairs will become one of the best in the nation. When they talk about Iowa and Minnesota and Texas, in LA County, they're going to talk about New York and Erie County. So, yeah, I'm excited to be on this journey with everybody here. So, I wanted to start off just by saying that this talk is not really designed to blow up your ultimate upgrade approach like right before the fair season. That wasn't kind of my goal with any of this. It's more so I just wanted to kind of give you just a few easy tips I can make an impact and just like some tweaks to hopefully that you guys can sell the upgrades easier and just more efficient with less objections, which I'm sure everybody would love to eliminate. I'm sure. So if you think about it, these customers, in theory, they should be our easiest customers to sell to. Excuse me. They've already taken that initial plunge of buying Cutco. They're sold on it. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I know it's much harder to get someone to say yes to Cutco for the first time versus the next time. I think I heard a number, probably Josh has this somewhere up in his brain, but I don't know the exact average like interactions it takes for a customer to see Cutco before buying it. I think it's like 3 to 4, maybe it's more than that, but I heard that somewhere. I don't know if someone can confirm that. But point is like Cutco owners already trust us because the product, hopefully 9 times out of 10 has lived up to what the sales rep, little Jimmy, little Susie, or the person at the show, or the college kid rep told them, right? It's lived up to that. And then if they're your past customers, they should even have an even better connection with them and trust because they've known you. They're seeing all your marketing. They know who you are. I also wanted to kind of mention this should be a continuation of kind of like what Renee's ultimate talk from, I guess it was 2 months ago now. You should have the same attitude you do about a new customer and an ultimate with upgrades and past customers and cut owners. Nothing changes, right? You still have to believe that everyone needs our best set. Many of these customers, you got to remember, they probably don't even know that the ultimate exists. They don't know that the bigger sets exist. They have a homemaker, a galley, or a studio. They have a studio and they have everything we make. So this brings me to my first tip. I just have simply do not ask for permission to show the upgrade. Years ago, I was taught always to ask for permission to customers before showing things, which I'm sure a lot of us were. And in certain cases, that does still make sense. But with Cutco owners, especially past customers, you don't need to, and you really shouldn't be doing this. In my opinion, it's almost like a too early of a buying question. You got to figure they just stopped by the booth to say hi or to catch up or to let you know that they've had Cutco set longer than you've been alive. They love to say that. Most people don't walk up because they wanted to buy more today, or they come up here to upgrade their set. Some people do. And it's funny, like, and those people that end up coming, oh, I'm here to add to my collection. You're like, yes, let's go. Like, it never ends up being an upgrade. It's always like a couple pieces. Like, I'm here to buy a gift. I need the cheese knife, right? So, um, put yourself in their shoes. They bought this expensive set of knives years ago. Some of them maybe reluctantly because they were super expensive, but now they're glad they have them. In their mind, they have the full set of Cutco, whatever that set of Cutco is. They think they have everything they make and they don't need anything else. So when somebody comes up to the booth and they tell you, how long they've had their Cutco, or how much they love them, or they wanted to just catch up with their Cutco person, and then you just like ask them early on, hey, you want to see the new stuff, or do you want to check out the new pieces? Um, Most of the times, what's the response you get when you ask that question? It's like it's a no. We're good. We have the full set. We're happy with what we have. It served its purpose, etc. Right? Those kind of responses. Now, sometimes they say yes. So yeah, so usually goes that way. Now, a lot of people, they if you ask that question early on, what I've noticed is they're just gonna kind of like close themselves off. Like, oh, he's trying to sell me. Like, I just came up here to talk to him. And they're already selling me. So what I like to do is, for me, I like to just kind of like hear their Cutco story, right? Have them relive that, that day when they bought Cutco, or whatever their story is. I like to then walk them through like this emotional roller coaster that they experienced when they first bought Cutco. How long you guys had them for? How did you get them? It's funny hearing this. I haven't heard Brandon's talk, but it's funny, like, it's asking a lot of the same questions, so that should tell you something. But it's like, how long have you had them for? How did you get them? I want to know if it was at a show, if it was at a college kid came to the house, or was it their daughter that they felt bad so they bought something. Figure out that. Oh man, you guys probably freaked out when you first bought these, right? Or, oh, your husband like almost killed you when he came home and he found out you spent $2,000 on some knives, right? Or you probably left the show and you're like, oh my gosh, did we really just spend 30 grand on some knives? Do we really need these? Yeah, right. Get them to kind of relive that. Well, do you guys ever regret it though? No, we love them. We wouldn't trade them for anything. Best investment we made, right? Have them relive that high that they're now experiencing after they took the plunge. Yeah, Cutco's totally worth it, right? Yeah, whether it's your first time buying Cutco or your 10th time buying Cutco, everybody always feels the same way. I'd love to hear you guys enjoying it. Oh, by the way, have you guys ever seen us here at the fair before? Whether they say no or yes, it's like, doesn't matter what they say, but oh, really? Oh, wow. So this is actually our largest event of the year, and we are one of the main sponsors of the fair. So most people like to check us out at the fair, just because we're able to get you some really good deals on our new packages and programs that you wouldn't normally see. Now, people don't realize we're actually a full kitchen company. We started off as if you guys remember the talk I did last year with the Cutco Kitchen, the power intro. Then it's just like diving into this, a quick little power intro. Yeah, people don't realize we actually started off doing the pots and pans about 100 years ago. Then we got famous for our knives in the 40s, which obviously you guys have and love. Now we also make one of the last USA made spoons and forks. So it's like doing a quick little power intro. And then again, don't ask for permission. It's like, by the way, these are actually some of the newest customer requested pieces that have come out since you bought your set, or pieces that aren't in your set. And, we all have the board out there, and it's kind of like drawing their eyes to the board. So the nice thing about this is it's just a very low key, laid back way of getting them to look at new pieces, without having this like wall up of like, oh, they're just trying to sell me something. It's all very conversational, right? We're just chatting, hearing about the story, the background. Oh, by the way, like, check this out. Here's why, people come see us at the fair. Like I said, I like to hear the Cutco story, have them relive that feeling of when they first bought it, and then let them know that it's totally natural to feel the way that they felt. Give them hints that they're going to feel it again when they buy Cutco again. I'm also kind of dropping hints of, why we're at the fair, why a lot of people buy at the fair, by teasing these new packages and programs. And then I just kind of dive into the new pieces and don't ask for permission. My thought process is, by this point, if they're still engaging with me and at the booth, there's no need to ask them, hey, oh, but since you're here, do you want to check out new pieces? It's like they wouldn't still be here listening to you if there wasn't some level of curiosity or interest. You'll be like, yeah, no, we love them. They're great. Thank you. And they just kind of walk off, right? You'll notice their body language. Or in New York, for the Southern boys on this call, like they're just going to tell you they're not interested. Right? They're not die. So it's like, there's no need to ask for something to remember. Something I have applied for years in selling Cutco. It's shocking phrase, but remember, we get paid to sell Cutco, not show Cutco, right? We have to sell them on why they need these new pieces. Nobody's going to come up and ask about an upgrade or, oh, how do I upgrade my set? You get it 1 out of 50 times maybe, but it's very rare that they come up and they want to add to their collection. Like I said, if it is, they'll get too excited because it's usually like a couple pieces. So again, just kind of dive right in and do the approach. Now, I know what you might be thinking.
Luciano, your service is messed up. Luciano is in Spain, so hence the connection is
single best and easiest way to have exponential growth this year, and that's by taking more turns. Am I frozen?
You're okay now, but you were for a while.
Damn, that is a terrible picture.
When I got you.
Where did I freeze?
No, like 2 minutes back.
2 minutes back?
Maybe one. What was the last thing? I don't even know now because I'm all over the place. What was the last thing
Kind of started.
You said you were probably
talking about the Southern boys.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'll notice basically about their body language. Okay, yeah. So there's no need to ask, to dive into pieces because if they're still there, there's some level of curiosity or interest. Like I was saying, you'll notice by their body language, or they'll just tell you they're not interested. So something to remember is it's a shocking phrase to hear, but we get paid to sell Cutco, not show Cutco. Something that I heard years ago and really resonated. It's like we have to sell them on why they need to, why they need these new pieces. And nobody's going to come up and just, ask, how do I upgrade my set? Right? It happens every now and then, but it's not common. So now, yep. Let skip this. So I know what you're probably thinking. Some people might be thinking is, well, damn, what if I do all this work and waste my time on them, or I burn a turn? If you guys remember Josh's talk 2 months ago, or on the first call we had, it's he had a breakthrough, mind blowing concept. Is the more people we engage, the more we will sell. Right? This is the only aspect that we can fully 100% control this fair season. We can't control how many people walk past our booth or show up to the fair, or what the weather's going to be like. But what we can control is how many people we engage and pitch these upgrades to. So, I love his talk because, in my opinion, it's the single best way for us to have exponential growth this year is just by taking more turns. It's not like 200,000 people are randomly going to just show up this year to the fair extra, right? So our skill set is there. We just need to have more swings at bat. And if we're taking more turns, we might as well be pitching our big packages, like the big sets and the upgrades and the cookware and family program, like Brandon was talking about. That's first tip. Second tip. So now the first tip was kind of more general. This is going to be a little bit more specific. And something that we teach in our coaching group that has helped a lot of them, and that's start explaining the upgrade from back to front. And here's what I mean by that. Most of us have our board set up a certain way or the same way, right? The one board with the ultimate pieces. to make upgrades easier. But we have it set up the same way. Usually, you know, it's the smaller knives on one side. If you get the paring knife, the cheese knife, the boning knife, all the way up to like the bigger pieces on the one end or on the other end. So our instinct is naturally to start with the paring knife, the cheese knife, the boning knife, right, and work our way over. You know, a lot of reps like to start with those because they're the easiest to sell, easiest to get customers excited about. And you know, who doesn't love a paring knife and a cheese knife and a boning knife, right? I know Curtis famously calls these the death pieces. There's a reason for that. You know, think about how many times have you had it when you're just explaining, you know, you go through the paring knife, they're super excited. You go through the cheese knife, and then you get like really excited, and then they keep interrupting. You're like, ooh, how much is that? Oh, what about that guy? Can I just buy this one? And you're like, shut up so I can get through the upgrade, right? They get so excited that you can't even finish it, and then they're just like so piece oriented. And then you know, you get to by the time you get to the big pieces, in their mind, like, oh, I would never use those because like, you know, I just really like the idea of these. Because before you even got a chance to explain it. You know, in my opinion, if you sell someone on the cleaver, the veggie knife, and the salmon knife, the upgrade is in the bag at that point. You know, obviously budget. But the upgrade is in the bag concept wise. So I actually like to start from the cleaver and then work my way back. So I start off super excited when I talk about the cleaver, because naturally, if you guys have heard my, even though just selling an ultimate in general, like my cleaver approach, I spend a lot of time on that, and I get really excited about the cleaver. And then the veggie knife, which gets them excited because in their mind, again, they look at those and like, oh, like I would never use those. And I'm explaining, and they're seeing themselves using these pieces, and they're like, oh, that's actually a really cool knife. I would definitely use the cleaver. I would love the veggie knife. And then by the time I'm down to the death pieces, it's just like, oh my God, these are all amazing. They get excited about everything. Then they're like, well, this upgrade really does make sense, actually. Right. So sales is just 100% emotional transaction. So you have to find ways to keep them in that emotional state, heightened emotional state throughout the whole sales process. You know, by doing little tweaks like these, and just being strategic with your pitches and then your energy levels. Now this kind of ties into my third tip. So who in the call would like to have more upgrades with less objections? Should be everybody, unless you're just weird and you like working too hard. What would you say is the most common objection that we get from ultimate upgrades?
Too many knives.
That's exactly what I was looking for. Good guess. So yeah, so it's either too many knives. I wouldn't use something piece-based or budget, but the number one is like it's too many knives. So I found that the best way to kind of handle this, like most objections, is handle them before they come up. So this is done, or I like to do this when I'm explaining the pieces in the upgrade. So my goal is I want the customer to visualize themselves using each piece in some way, in some fashion, getting some value out of that piece in their home, which is subconsciously they're selling themselves on that piece without me having to like tell them they're going to use it. So I follow just this like simple formula, I guess you want to call it, that you can basically just use for every piece in the ultimate upgrade. So it's basically 4 steps to it. First one is introduce the piece. Very basic, you know, what is the piece? And then I like to ask them, do they ever do blank or cut blank or cook blank or, you know, something? Do you ever do blank? Then the third is I like to compare it with the piece from the basic set or from what they currently own. You know, I like to compare it against one of their basic pieces. And then lastly, explain why the piece works better, why it makes sense, or how it saves them time, energy, and are safer to use. So how does it solve the problem? So introduce the piece, ask them if they ever do X, Y, Z, compare with the piece from the basic set, and explain how this piece solves that problem for them. And I'll give a couple examples for basically how I do it. So again, for the cleaver, I say, hey, so Miss Jones, here's some of the new pieces. By the way, check these out. Here, feel away to this guy. This is a new piece. It's the cleaver. Now, this is the attitude adjuster in the house. It's great for husbands, Intruders or just any bad attitudes around the house. Get them to laugh, whatever. No, but in all seriousness, I actually not used to not use this one, like hardly at all. But now we're actually super glad we have it because we use it quite a bit. So it's just my wife and I for now, at home. And we've been going to the farmers market to get our meats, and they freeze them there. So it's cool because we love this guy because it's thick and sharp and heavy duty enough to actually cut right through frozen solid ground beef or sausage. So you can chop right through frozen stuff without damaging it. By the way, do you guys like sweet potatoes or butternut squash, spaghetti squash? You guys ever cut those things? Oh my gosh, yeah. They're like rocks, right? They're so tough to cut. They're delicious, but it can be a chore to cut. So they can also be dangerous sometimes. Now, what we found is most people, they like to use their chef knife or like a carving knife on it because they want something large that's gonna, cut through it. But it either breaks in there or it rolls around when they try to cut it, and then that's how you cut a finger off. So I love this cleaver because it's a perfect combo of super sharp and super heavy duty. So cutting through those tough squashes makes it so much easier and safer. And then, sometimes I'll even ask you, so like, yeah, do you guys cut up a squash every now and then? Oh my gosh, yeah, you'll love this one then. It's going to make your life so much easier. And honestly, it's just a cool knife that you're going to find reasons to use this bad boy. So that's like my cleaver example. I'll do another example with the two new chopping knives. So I'll kind of move on to the next one. I'll say next we have a couple newer chopping knives. We found that everybody loves their chef knife. I'll show it to them. It's usually one of the most used knives in the sets, but the only, I guess, complaint with it is that for most kitchens, one chef knife is never enough. It's always being used. It's always in the dishwasher, always dirty. Do you guys use this one a lot? Oh yeah, you guys chop a lot of veggies, mince, herbs, things like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, so these are two new style chopping knives. We have the vegetable knife, which is one of my personal favorites. I like it because it's not pointed at the end. You can section things, dice, mince, chop, smash the garlic, scoop it up on the blade. Also, feel the weight of this, by the way. Like a lot of people look at it and they think it's similar to the cleaver, but it's totally different. Also, we have the cute version of the chopping knife. So we've noticed that it's just great to have a few different variety and options, just in case one is dirty or in the dishwasher and you guys are both cooking together. That way you don't have to fish in the dishwasher and try to get your chopping knife. So those are just kind of like a couple examples. Again, the goal is to basically, I want them to visualize themselves using that piece, like exactly what they would use it for, certain things that they would use that knife for. What?
Did she explain as well? Or
somebody Bryson's on. I was like, what's happening here? So those are a couple examples. The goal is to, again, have them visualize themselves using that piece. And then this is basically, they're now selling themselves on why they need it. I'm not selling them on it. I'm just telling them what it's for. And I'm asking them if they would see themselves using it. So they're selling themselves on why they need it. And then my goal is I want to get some kind of verbal agreement from each piece that I talk about, because I don't want any doubt that they're going to use that or they're not going to use that piece. This is just, I've noticed it's way more impactful than just going through names and uses and listing them all out. Yeah, this is great for this, and this is great for this. And then you just throw a bunch of stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks, right? Like this is, and then you find out like, oh, we didn't use this, this, and this. Well, cool. So I've noticed is if you do this correctly, you're no longer really going to run into the objections at the end of, well, we just wouldn't use those pieces, or, we don't need some of these guys. I don't think we would ever use this guy. Now, I'm not going to promise that you'll never get any more objections because that's not realistic. But, for me, like I'd rather make my job easier and eliminate a whole subsection of objections if possible. Then through objection cycle, like Liz talked at the beginning of the call, at least it's at this point that it's like some kind of budget spouse objection. It's not necessarily a pieces objection. Then you can really be on your A game to handle those objections, when it comes up by, either dropping down to maybe a builder upgrade or a companion set in a block, companion set in a tray, or maybe they just need that little extra freebie or incentive to do it. Now, maybe it's not a budget thing. Maybe you ask them the question of 1 to 10 and they say a 7. Like, oh, yeah, I like the idea of the upgrade. I'm just not sure if I would use everything. Or maybe they say something, I just don't think I would ever use that guy or this guy. And then you can just use what they told you as ammo to kind of remind them. Or if they don't really like point out a couple pieces, sometimes I just ask when they say, oh, I'm just not sure I would use all of them. Hey, just curious, I don't want to ask, like, which one are you kind of unsure about? And then they'll say, well, I don't know if I would ever use this cleaver, this big thing. It's like, oh, but remember you mentioned how you like hate cutting squashes because they're just so tough and like you don't want to lose a finger, and why you don't cook with them anymore? Oh, yeah, you're right. Right? They forget because it's like we talked about so many pieces, like it's natural for them to just kind of like, oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I remember that. Sometimes customers just need to be sure about their decision. It's not always a budget buying issue, right? It's not, you don't have to be so quick to dropping the price. Closing the order might just be something as easy as just like, hey, reminding them of the pieces, couple pieces that are in there that they forgot about or weren't paying attention, and you don't have to cut any commission because they're just like, oh yeah, I would use that guy. Oh honey, yeah, that's your barbecue knife. Okay. Yeah, I guess we would use them all, right? And then they've already sold themselves on it. So this is great. I love this method just because it comes off way less salesy. Because you're not fighting with them. You're simply just using the info that they already gave you, throughout your pitch. And the cool thing about this is you'll notice you're building way more trust this way. You become, they realize that you're actually listening to what they're telling you and you're helping them, helping their needs. You're not just trying to like sell them a bunch of stuff. You're paying attention to everything that they're saying. Now, on the flip side of this, when this is done right, and it's not a budget objection, it becomes a beautiful thing. It's super fun, super easy, and it's very smooth. You get to the point where like you explain them all. Yeah. So again, with the upgrade, you get these 9 pieces here. You get the block. You get 4 more of those steak knives, like I mentioned. And then we just transfer everything in here, and then you have this, this thing, beautiful set sitting on your counter. And then you'll notice, we've all experienced this, but husband and wife, they kind of like, well, what do you think? Like, would you use those guys? And she's like, yeah, I do like this guy. And then they're like, yeah, I like this guy. Oh, and I really like this guy too. Oh, yeah. Oh, we like this guy also. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it makes sense, right? Everybody knows what I'm talking about. They start to do that, and you can like see it going the right direction. And it's great because at this point you just like ask your soft closing questions, like, oh, by the way, you guys said you have the white handles at home, right? Cool. So obviously, like, we'll make sure that these match so that you don't have a zebra set sitting on your counter. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned, you do get a color choice on the block. We have this honey oak one, and we also have this dark cherry stain. Which one do you think would go better in your kitchen? So I even like to ask them, like, do you have a picture of your kitchen by any chance? Like, you see which one goes better? And like, they pull their phone out, they show you a picture, like, that's how you know it's like in the bag, right? They're showing you pictures of their kitchen. And then sometimes even if you need to, like that little hump at the end, like Brandon said, bring up the cutting boards. I always use those very strategically. Be careful how you word it because it can bite you in the butt. Liz can tell you a personal story about this that happened at the fair last year, but be careful how you do it. But I always like to say, oh my gosh, by the way, I totally forgot to mention, like, part of this package, you also get a forever cutting boards with it and like sell them hard on those cutting boards. You can even sell the refurbishment program idea. It's like, oh, and then, I know you've had your set for 20 years. What's cool is for all my customers, I do what I call my refurbishing program, where actually once you get your new stuff, put your old stuff back in that same box, put the sheets on it, send it back to Cutco. I'm actually going to cover your shipping both ways. So the shipping is on me. They're going to refurbish your knives, put brand new edges on everything, replace anything that's broken. So you're literally going to get a brand new set sent back to you. So when you get everything put in this block on the counter, you're going to have a brand new $4,400 set of Cutco. Now, obviously, you're not paying anywhere near that, right? So it's like you're slowly getting to the point of where they're just like, maybe it happens before this, but where they're just like, all right, sounds good. They just pulled out the credit card. Like, that's my favorite feeling. Very few things get me more excited than just like when you like ask these questions, it's like slowly getting to, and like you don't even ask for the order. They're just like, all right, sounds good. And they give you your card. Like, that's the best. That just means that you did everything right. You handled all the objections the right way. And it's just a no-brainer because the demo works. It's just like you handled all your objections and it's just super smooth. So now we're 8:51. So yeah, so I mean that's what I had on upgrades. I don't know if how much time we had. I have a couple bonus tips if we had any time, or if we wanted to do questions. I don't know what the schedule. So just to kind of recap everything, the 3 tips I kind of went over. It's just don't ask for permission, right? Build rapport, hear their Cutco story, make them relive that experience of what they felt when they first bought Cutco, and then just remind them they're going to feel it again. And then just dive into the new pieces. When you explain the upgrade, start from the back and then go forward. So start from the cleaver and then go to the depth pieces. and then do a better job of just like giving them a real world examples of like them visualizing themselves using that knife. Like get them to like acknowledge like, oh yes, I would use that. I do struggle with that. That would solve my problems. And then you'll notice that you'll have a lot more upgrades. They'll be a lot more smooth, and hopefully you get more objections. So that's what I got.
Round of applause for Luciano. That was great. I mean, technically we have 8 minutes. If anybody has any questions for Luciano, that's what the last few minutes were set aside for. Any questions for Luciano? No, a couple of people mentioned that they like the idea of starting with a cleaver and going the other way. It's definitely good advice. Good. I guess we have no questions. Aaron, I'd ask if you want to add anything, but can't ask you. Do you have anything? What did he say? Oh, block
Bryson
objective.
had a
Oh, so when they
like-
don't want a big block on their counter, what do you do?
like it's too big, or they just don't want to block, or
Either?
Yeah, like they're liking everything in the upgrade that they realize it's gonna go in the block, but it seems like it's about to screw everything
yeah.
up.
I feel like I used to run into this a lot, and then I realized like I really don't get that anymore. And I think it culmination of a lot of things, but I think that like I've gotten to where like a lot of us that sell ultimates, like once you get more confident with it, you start to like not run into that just because like you're so just like, yeah, it's a block, like this is what everybody does. You just like assume that like, hey, this is what you do, like it fits all the knives. And if you really have the people that are just like, oh, I just don't have any room on my counter, I will basically do the like I pick up a sheet of paper, like, yeah, I know we make it look massive, we put it like prop it up on these cutting boards, and like it looks massive. It's really not that big. If you can imagine, it's an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper sitting on your counter. And I'll literally drop it in front of them and be like, yeah, this would be the footprint it takes on the block. Now, obviously, it's not a small set of knives. We know that. So the reality is what most of my customers do is, we're not using that toaster every single day. We're not using the blender every single day, or the KitchenAid mixer. I used to put my KitchenAid mixer on the counter. My wife made me put it down underneath. And I was kind of mad at first, and I realized like I don't use it that much, but I use my knives every single day. Plus, Miss Joe's like, this is a sexy set of knives. If you want to show these off, like you have it on your counter, you show it off to your friends, you like put the spotlights on it, and like have some like angelic hymns playing in the background, like as they walk. Like I like have fun with it, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm like, no, but seriously, it's just nice to have a place. We can do it without the block if you really wanted to. It's just we have an investment. It's just nice to have them all together in one place. And again, if you respond like that, most of the times it's just a smoke screen. Like I guarantee you those people are always the ones that like have crap all over their counters. It's very few, and it's like a true minimalist that like has nothing on their counter. If that's the case, they're probably loaded and they have like some bougie house in Skinny Atlas on the lake or something. I don't know. I don't know if that, hopefully that makes sense or answers.
Yeah, thank you.
Good question, Bryson. Okay, cool. So everybody read my comment because he just lied to all of you. The KitchenAid is still on the counter, and now I know he sees it my way, and we're gonna put it under, like I've been asking.
It's not on the counter, it's underneath. What are you talking about?
The KitchenAid?
The mixer? Yes, it's underneath.
Well, maybe I'm losing my mind, but I'm gonna go home and take a picture. Anyway, nobody cares. So I hope you guys all got some good stuff today. Can't wait to see you at the retreat. Aaron sent some emails today with some items that he would love it if people could help bring for you local people. Just like last year, same campground, bring as many blankets, pillows, sheets, all your stuff. There's cabinets, there's nothing on the beds for those of you who've not been there before. So you need to bring sheet, pillow, blanket, towel for showering, like all the things you would bring to an empty cabin. For people that are traveling, find somebody or ask somebody, to help you if you need help. Yeah, Aaron, they'll say that. He sent a few emails today, so just check your emails. And then if you have any questions, let us know. We are done for the day. It was nice to see you all. I'll send
Bye.
the recording too. I'll get that going. I'll send it to you, Aaron, and you can forward it. Okay, thank you guys. Bye-bye.